So the big question is this: how are those in the self-storage industry like us going to be successful in today's market? That's the question, and this show will give you the answers. My name is Jim Ross, and welcome to the Self-Storage Show. Hi everyone, this is Jim Ross in the Self-Storage Show, and today's episode I got Noah Springer, who's the Senior Vice President of Third Party and Asset Management for Extra Space. How's it going, Noah?
Good, Jim. Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, of course. I know you're always bouncing around to the state shows and the other trade shows, and always giving presentations. And I always enjoy listening to you speak. So it's a natural fit having you on the podcast.
Not a problem. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, let's just kind of just jump right into it here. I know lately a lot of times the topic's kind of been revolving around how self-storage companies can leverage technology, and
hmm
that's of course with Extra Space. You're definitely at the forefront of doing that. And so I want to kind of touch base on that one. What self-storage sites, either the ones that are currently existing, people that are looking at jumping into storage like everyone seems to be doing nowadays, and just kind of what
Yeah.
some tips and tricks, or just kind of what you guys are doing to leverage technology, and how we can kind of model that.
Sure, sure. I guess when I think about technology, I would break it up into a few different chunks and have people kind of think about it in a few different areas. Number one, if you're just getting into the business, I would look at it as understanding the industry a little bit, and that would mean understanding the competitors and what's going on in the competitive landscape when you're getting in and either buying a facility or building new. And I think the best technology out there to do that is really understand the demographic data as well as understanding the operational data of stores around your potential property. And right now, there's a couple of really good companies out there that are doing a pretty good job of putting that data together, and the technology that they're using kind of bringing together a lot of different data sources. And we primarily use Yardi Matrix, and Yardi's done a good job of putting a lot of information together. Also, Union Realtime, and does a great job. Has a really nice, good user interface, and an STR is another one that people are using that to kind of get the right data and information so that you don't make a mistake. And the last thing I'd want to see anyone do is get into a new business or a new industry, not have sufficient understanding of it, not have sufficient data, and make a bad choice on the get-go. So I would start with those,
Oh yeah, and
to look at
and,
those and say,
and the click of a
let
button.
me make sure that I'm doing it right.
Yeah, so the click of a
Yeah,
button. It's so easy now, at least to get at least a good idea of if you're kind of going the right direction. I've used Guardian
and know
Matrix and
exactly
Unity
where
Real
you're
Time
going. Yep.
myself. Haven't used STR. I'm gonna check that out. So that's a good note for myself too.
And I would look at those different ones, and for different information you're looking for, certain software packages are better and different than others. But I think all of them are actually really really pretty solid, and pretty good. So
Perfect. Yeah, and that's definitely a good way to start. And it's like click of a button. Hey, a lot of the information's
yep.
right in front of you. So great way to
So I'd,
start.
I'd start yeah start with that on technology, and then I'd probably get into the operations of a facility. When you're down to construction and building and those types of things, that's really sticks and bricks and construction. So I don't know that we're really doing much or have much to offer in that regard. But when it comes down to operating a facility, there's a lot of technology that goes into this, and again, the big thing on this is data and understanding and having enough data to be able to make the decisions that you need to make is really important. And if you just have one facility, it can kind of be tough sometimes. And so I'd urge people to talk to third-party management companies or others out there in the industry to look at it and say, who else can I join forces with to have enough data that I can make the right decisions and right choices, primarily about what you do online, from marketing your facility and bringing customers in to setting rates and all your revenue management. Those are kind of the big things that data that we're looking at right now, and the technology that we're looking at is really what we're doing online.
Yeah, yep, totally. And again, it really revolves around it revolves around online. I used to
Yeah.
laugh at how many people would talk about marketing and, oh, do you have a website? Like, oh my gosh, we're a little bit past that now. It's
Yeah, if we're asking those questions, we're,
we're in
you
trouble.
should maybe look at a different business, selling yellow pages or something. But yeah,
Exactly.
I would say yeah, if we're asking the website question still, man, we've got a long way to go. I hope
Oh,
that's not the question anymore.
you'd be surprised. Yeah, but hopefully we're getting
I
past
know, I
that. But
know.
yeah, it's there's so much more you can drill down, like you said, when it comes to your competition and the rates. And I mean, obviously, you guys are really into rate management and have to have your finger on the pulse of that, of exactly what's going on in that market. Because yeah, each market is totally different. You can't compare one market to another market. It's
Right.
they're two totally different
Well,
things.
and you know what? It's an interesting thing that we look at, and you ask a funny question of, do you have a website? And while everybody, or I hope everyone says yes, not all websites are created equal, right?
Yeah.
I have a sixth grader, and he can build a website right now, but he can't build Amazon's website, right? There's a very big difference from just the back end architecture to the functionality to the user experience to what the customer sees, how you can test different things, and so it isn't just, do I have a website? It's, what's the functionality and level of complication that is built into this website to actually have it work for you and maximize what you're looking for. That's, I think, the important thing is not the simple question, but the difficult question of, okay, does this really accomplish what I'm trying to get at? I mean, if you're Extra Space, we have a lot of resources to look at this and really push something more and dig into all the nuances of the website. Where if you're a one-off person with one facility, maybe you don't need all that information, but it's just going to be more difficult to get and be able to have all the functionality that the bigger operators have, I guess.
Oh, well, totally. And again, kind of going back to leveraging that technology as an operator. Of course, you're looking at definitely all of the ins and outs of of course, how it's working and where things are placed and usability. I like to look at it as far as a consumer point of view. When someone's looking to actually to come across your website, well, yeah, how intriguing is it for them to actually rent and make an ease of use
Yeah,
for them to rent and reserve and make their payment online. And again, nowadays
right.
with the technology that's out there, it's so much easier than it used to be, making that much
Sure,
more of a less
sure.
friction, from beginning to end, from them finally looking for a unit to renting a unit. It's so much easier than it was just a few
Absolutely.
years ago.
I mean, again, look at like Amazon One Click, which I think that's a great company,
Hmm.
and what they've done to buy with the swipe of your finger. I mean, more goods have been sold on that thing, that things that you just don't need, but they've made it so easy to buy that you do it. And the easier you can make it, the more steps you can take out of the leasing process and get your customer to find exactly what they need and what they're looking for as painless as possible, the better it is for the customer and the better it is for the company. So it's a huge important thing. And um, at Extra Space, we look at a lot of different tests and tricks and try to look at things and say what's best for the customer, and not because the only thing that matters is the customer experience. But it's a big part of it. And what's so important about that is the happier the customer is, their propensity to rent goes up, and propensity to stay longer goes up. The lifetime value is better. So really listening to the customer and looking at the customer and asking what they need and modifying that experience to have it work for them, uh, at the end of the day, really helps the owner, the shareholder, and everyone that has kind of a vested interest at the property.
Oh yeah,
So, we're looking at things and trying to modify the color of the website, the size of the pictures, the font size, all these little things that we would do and test in order to say, does that increase the customer's propensity to rent? And if it does, 1% for Extra Space of an increase is,
oh huge.
uh, on the number of rentals we have, it's a big number.
And that's what you hit on. It's you're modifying it. Just because what you're doing now, you don't rest on your laurels. Just because it's worked in the past, that's what you're gonna just you stick with. No, you're always
Yeah,
testing testing and implementing and doing A/B split testing and all that kind of stuff. That's that's what you do in this kind of market. You have to if you're gonna stay
absolutely.
on top.
And it's also not just that, but it's also with one small change of a Google algorithm, they can make everything different for you.
Oh
And
yeah.
while you think, hey, I have a website, uh, and maybe I have some keywords and some pay-per-click stuff that I'm figuring out as a small operator or owner, if Google makes one small change in their algorithm, man, it sure does wreak havoc across the world for anybody that's working on that. And you've got to be up on this and looking at it and actively managing this almost every day. Otherwise, you'll fall behind.
Oh yeah, no, it's like I say, you don't rest on your laurels, especially when it comes to marketing like that, because it's a well, it takes one little tweak and yep, you're gone. So it's like I said, it's a daily thing. You got to keep up on it. So yeah,
Yeah,
besides like
yeah.
websites and of course other tools we've talked about, as far as other operators out there, what are some other tools that come to mind that they can leverage to help them be more successful?
Yeah, so I mean, some of the kind of fun things that are coming out lately are the Bluetooth locks or the kiosks or the managerless facilities.
Yeah.
Um, but OpenTech has done some stuff with that, and Janus has done some things, and Nokia has done some things, and I think they're fun. I think it's a fun thing to look at. I think it's important to kind of be in front of that technology and at least dabbling in it to know what's coming down the road, right? If you just kind of sit back and say, okay, let's let it happen, I don't know if that's the best thing. For us, it's probably also not modify every one of our facilities to go with every new technology change that comes out, but we're definitely in it looking at every one of these and saying, all right, what could be next? And kind of have our toe in a bunch of different ponds to make sure that we know what's coming up and we can look at these things and be able to react and jump when we need to. But and they're kind of fun, right? I mean, you think about it
Mm-hmm.
now and the amount of things that you can control with your phone. I can unlock and lock my front door. I can turn on my furnace. I can open my garage. I know when people are at my front door. I can let the Amazon guy in. All these different things you can do with your phone. It's kind of natural that eventually storage goes that same way. And it isn't just finding a unit on your phone, but it's also being able to open the door, have your gate code, or be able to open the gate with those kind of things. Maybe it's even tracking the goods that are inside your facility. So
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of things coming with the new technology, and whether that's wireless or RFID or Bluetooth, that stuff eventually will get to storage. Now, how much does the customer want that, and how much is the customer willing to pay for that? I still think that's TBD, but it's something that's coming down the road, and we're definitely watching it and seeing what will happen with it. We have a handful of properties that we've modified to accept this technology and work on it, and kind of always looking around to see to make sure that we're not missing anything, but also not spending all our time or effort and energy just in one area.
Oh yeah. Yep. And again, that kind of comes down to testing and modifying, and then you gotta know what's coming down the pike. I mean, I say
Yeah,
sometimes storage is 10 years behind the times when a lot of different things, but
right.
it's gonna go that way, and it might take another 10 years for it to be commonplace, but that
Sure.
kind of technology is gonna come. It's just I mean it's already here in places, and I'm gonna actually go take a tour of a site here coming up that has utilizes all that the Bluetooth thing with the phone, which
Yeah.
I gotta check it out. It's pretty cool. But like you just said, you gotta
Well,
have it on your radar on what's coming down.
right. And you see it with hotels. I mean, it's
Yeah.
still commonplace to get a little key card at a hotel, and it's becoming more commonplace that you walk into a Marriott Courtyard and I don't even have to talk to anybody. I can walk right in and actually just use my phone to open the door and go forward, which is also kind of nice. So that what isn't commonplace anymore is if you walked in and someone actually handed you a metal key for your hotel room, you would think, oh my gosh, what is going on here?
Uh-huh.
And at some point, that's probably what a storage facility is as well, right? My kids probably won't have many metal keys, but they'll, we'll get there. So if you're looking to build a new facility, I would look at it hard and say, yeah, is the door that I'm buying or the hasp that I'm buying, eventually able to accept some of these new technologies, just in case it goes there quicker than you think.
Oh yeah, that's exactly the point. I see these ones that are coming down the pipeline that are in the stages. Don't just look at what's going to get you by in the next year or two. You got to think 5, 10 years down the road exactly and see if this is still going
Right,
to be a
right.
feasible option. So, no, totally agree.
Yep.
So with these sites that are already existing, I'm kind of putting myself into a like a mom and pop type of a place, and they're an existing site, but they realize,
Mm-hmm.
they kind of gotta gotta step up their game a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What's some tools you can think that they should be considering to help them?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is storage is really kind of moved away from the industrial feel. The manager really isn't just a caretaker anymore. It
Mm-hmm.
really kind of moved into a retail feel and a good customer and user experience, like we talked about. So I think one of the most important things is either modernizing or making your facility feel retail. Like if you're walking into a a store in a nice mall, you would feel like, what is this experience supposed to feel like? And storage could kind of feel the same. It doesn't need to feel dirty or gross or that the manager is someone that you wouldn't want to deal with. It should be a good, pleasant experience
Mm-hmm.
for the customer or the user. And I would say anybody that's looking at their existing facility, if they can modify their office and make it more friendly for people to walk in, make it brighter and lighter and more of a retail experience that feels nice, I would definitely push them to do that. A lot of our customers in storage come into the facility and their their garage or their basement or their house is full of stuff and it's cluttered and it's hard. And so if you come into a storage facility and it also feels cluttered or dirty, uh, it's not what they're looking for. What they're looking for is clean and nice and well lit that kind of provides them a relaxing breath of fresh air to say, okay, good. I can come in here. It's clean and nice. I can put my stuff in here, and it will give me what I'm looking for of that clean and nice instead of jumbled and a lot of extra things. Right.
Oh yeah, no,
So
totally.
I would say anybody should start with that.
Yeah, low hanging fruit. So start off with the
Absolutely.
for first impressions. Yep.
Absolutely.
And you kind of touched upon like a manager's role has changed. Obviously, we're no longer just the caretakers, and just a warm body in
Mm-hmm.
the office, answering the phone or something like that. What what's some with the technology that's always been changing? There's got to be some better tools. They've probably been around for a while now, but maybe some of these sites just haven't pulled the trigger and implemented them in their own business operations. I'd assume
Yeah,
what
I
like
mean,
call center or direct storage software is obviously a foundation to something like
sure.
that. So, what's some tools you can
Yeah,
maybe
I mean,
touch on that could help them be a little more successful?
uh, everybody should be using a call center, right? We've really proven that out to say, it's best if the difference between someone selling a storage facility over the phone and someone selling the storage facility to someone there in person is a very different type of sale. And if your manager is good at in-person sales, they might not be great at over-the-phone sales. It's just a different animal.
Mm-hmm.
And the professional call centers in the industry now really do a really pretty good job. The third-party management companies like Extra Space or others do a great job with their call centers. But if you want to manage your own facility, I'd say work with a call center and have them be able to track the calls and trace the calls and know where they're coming from and get as much data about that as you can, but also be able to rent units from the call center that the experience for the customer works really well because they can do it right there over the phone, and it isn't a manager that might be stumbling over their words or having to deal with a customer coming in to make a late payment. It's just someone there that's just focused on selling over the phone. Um,
Yeah, it's.
Other
I mean,
stuff I'd
I mean,
say.
not
Oh,
to get
go
off the
ahead.
point.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say it's just really the point. It's repetition. The call center. That's what
It
these
is.
guys do. If you're a normal like manager at a storage site, and you're taking I don't know maybe 2 or 3 calls a day if you're lucky of actual sales presentations.
Right.
You're kind of rusty. If you're a call center rep, yeah,
Right.
you're doing this all day long. It's this rep, and you're polished and you're slick and you're your conversions are a
Yeah.
lot better chances than you would just be storage managers only getting 2 or 3 reps a day. So that's my 2 cents on it. So totally agree on that.
It's it's definitely worth it, and depending on the area that you're in, if you're New York is very different than St. Louis, and the lifetime value of a customer is very different in those areas. But an average customer could be worth $1,000, $2,000, $3,000,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes people talk to us and others, and they say, what, a call center is just so much money, or $400, $500, $600, $700 a month. Well, if they're going to make you three, four, five extra rentals, that could be worth $15,000, and you're not willing to pay a few $100s for that service. To me, is crazy, right? It isn't just focus on the expenses, but look at opportunity cost as an expense as well. And if you look at that and say, I should be maximizing revenue here instead of just trying to decrease expenses, I think you'll do a lot better that way.
I think you were eavesdropping on my consulting call I had yesterday. I had this exact same conversation with somebody, so yep, been there. I know all about it. So,
Yeah, we've talked to a lot of owners that are way more worried about saving a couple bucks than they are about making a whole heck of a lot more when they can look at who really can run or drive business, run a facility or drive business to their facility.
mm-hmm. Yep. So besides call center, I kind of interrupted you earlier. Call center, what other things can you point people in the right direction on?
Again, good revenue management tools I think are really important, and that's important to be able to maximize revenue and know what rates are coming in. So there's some things off the shelf. There's also management companies that'll do that for you. It's tough to know. It's tough to know how to price a unit, and that doesn't necessarily matter what your what your competitor across the street is charging. That might not be the right price either. So you need to be able to look at that and understand what's good about my facility, what's the amount I should be charging for every 10 by 10, what's the right discount I should be charging for every unit that I have, and what's the right promotion. And then beyond that, it's how much can I push their rents once I have them in the facility. Good revenue management, it's hard to come by. It can be expensive, but it sure does make a difference. Now, it's also a matter of looking at it and saying, is it best to have a facility be 99% occupied, or 90 or 94 or 82% occupied with higher or lower rates, and kind of find that balance.
Mm-hmm.
High occupancy doesn't really matter much if your rates are really low, and low occupancy doesn't matter if your rates are really high. And you got to have that perfect balance of what makes you the most money. So good revenue management, a good revenue management team, or software is important to be able to look at and really maximize it the right way, because it can be difficult and it's tough to know. Like you said, a manager might get 2 or 3 calls a day about storage units. They might only make a few rentals every single day. So how do you know what you should be charging on that? It's tough because there's not a lot of data. And so you need to kind of work with someone to be able to have enough data and know where you should be pricing and where your promotion should come in. And it might not necessarily be what the guy across the street is charging.
No, and there's an art to it. I mean, there's an art and there's a science to it, and it takes work.
Yeah,
You have to be very mindful.
it takes work.
And
It takes work.
when you said about based off your price about the guy down the street, the thing is the guy down the street 9 times out of 10 doesn't have a clue. They're just pulling prices out of thin air, and they're basing price off the other guy down the street, and it just becomes this whole
Right.
circle thing of, oh, where did these numbers even come from? And so
Right.
don't want to base your pricing just based off your nearest competitor. Sometimes that's you get in trouble that way. So no, you have to really be
Right.
focused on your own business, your own operations, your own revenue management structure, and it's a biggie. And that's the number
Yeah.
one. That's my number one responsibility in my job too, is making sure I'm making the most money for the owners and being really mindful when it comes to proper revenue management strategies.
That's right. That's right. We talk about website, and let me go back to that just for a second.
Yeah.
The other thing that's important on the website is not just the website, but also that it's mobile friendly, right? And that you can do this from your phone. And
Oh, totally.
that's really where the world is going, right? And you're going to have a different ad campaign for a mobile site as you are to a computer, as you are to an iPad. And so you need to make sure that all of that stuff is working. I hate it when I go to a website that isn't set up for mobile, and you're trying to move the screen around, and you're trying to do something on your phone that doesn't work. And man, it sure does make it difficult. So I'd push everyone, if you only have one website that is just working for a desktop computer, you've kind of missed the mark there. You need to make sure mobile friendly is where everything is going. And I don't even know if my kids know how to use a mouse. They do everything on a phone.
Oh yeah, and again, if it takes forever to load or it's not user friendly, well, they're going to the next spot that is. You have what, like
Absolutely.
2 seconds to actually be able to show up on their phone to be able to have any kind of engagement. If it's not even showing up and not user friendly, yeah, they're just going to go right to the next site that is. So
That's right.
it's mobile friendly or nothing. I don't even care about desktop, honestly. I don't even look at that. It's like, if it's not mobile friendly, I'm not even worried about it. I don't even think about it. You don't even exist as far as I'm concerned.
Right. That's how most people think right now.
Well, it's the way things are going. Well, good. Well, kind of keeping track of time here, but no, I think what we've touched upon, at least if nothing else, gets people to at least start thinking about what they can implement in their own sites if they're already existing. The tools are out there. There's a lot of places out there that can help and guide you in the right direction on what can help you be a successful facility. And if you're coming right brand into it and you're a blank slate, well, that's a great position to be in too. And there's people out there can help and guide you along the way. And I figure, well, I got you here. What's the best contact info? People want to get more info and talk to you guys and about your services and go from there. What's a good contact info for you?
Yeah, so I'd urge you just to get on our website, go
Okay.
to extraspace.com, and find our third-party management services from there. Or feel free to give us a call. You can find our numbers on the website there, and we have different people in different regions. But happy to look at that, and happy to talk to them or help anybody out.
All right, I'm gonna go to that website. I'm gonna see if it's mobile friendly, but I'm sure it is.
Uh,
Just kidding.
Man, it better be.
Oh, good. Well, thanks a lot for taking the time, Noah.
I appreciate it, Jim. Thanks a lot for
All
having me
right,
on.
talk to you later. See ya.
Thanks, bye.
Thanks for supporting the show. I want to let you know that we've just opened up our brand new free private Facebook group. There I'll be having some extra special content not found anywhere else. If you really want your facility to be a success in today's market, then this is going to be the place for you. You can request to join us at selfstoragecommunity.com or search for Self Storage Domination Community on Facebook.